Player 2 has joined the game.
Hey yo, what's up everybody? Welcome to a two-player co-op quick hits edition. As always, I'm one of your hosts here, Kevin, along with my brother from my mother, Sean.
Hey yo.
He gets me every time. Sean, what are we talking about on quick hits today?
We're going to do a quick hit of SummerSlam recap from last night. It is Monday.
As you're watching this, it'll probably be 2 nights ago. It'll probably go up Tuesday morning. But yeah, we watched SummerSlam last night. If you didn't see, we did our prediction special last week. We only differed on 2 matches. One of them didn't even take place. The Roman Reigns and Rusev match did not happen because, as Brandon Stroud always likes to point out, baby faces aren't even baby faces in WWE. They're bad people, and they just beat people up for no reason, and they throw their wives into wedding cakes and all this other stuff. So that match never happened. But
that really all started with Stone Cold.
Right.
Stone
and that,
Cold.
But that was, yeah. That was him fighting it back against a like Mr. McMahon was a horribly evil character, at least.
Right. Yeah.
This, just no. I have to announce the winner of our first ever Quick Hits WWE pay-per-view predictions. And that title goes to this man right here. RSEW. And more initials. So, Sean won. What did he get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to 5.
And I have a better looking belt than the Universal Championship.
Okay, so let's start there. While I think it's wrong for the fans to basically ignore a really good match and just crap on the title, that title deserved to be crapped on. If you haven't seen it yet, the WWE Universal title it was called a Fruit Loop. It was called Kane's Class Ring.
Fruit Roll Up.
What did I say?
Fruit Loop.
Fruit Loop, not a Fruit Loop. Fruit Roll Up. It was just weird. And like Jess just saw it now as we were watching the beginning Raw. And she's like, well, I actually think it looks good. And I said, well,
You're a girl.
You're a girl. And Nick's like, well, I like red, and you're 6. So it's not that it's ugly. It's just like, I mean, I think this is bad enough to begin with. It's grown on me at least, but I still miss the old designs of a big circle, something in the middle with an eagle
intricate
or some
design.
Some kind of a design, not just, here's our logo.
Not just a big WWE. But
It is what it is.
we digress.
So we're not going to go through everything, but we kind of just want to give our quick thoughts on everything. The 6-woman match, I don't even need to talk about it. Doesn't count. Intercontinental title match, absolutely horrible. Just like, why did it even...
Didn't need to be there.
If anything, it should have been a pre-show match. I hate it because everybody loved Apollo Crews in NXT. I never really followed him or anything. Excuse me. So I don't know that much about him, but I thought it was clear as day that Miz was going to win that match. And he basically had no offense except... for the win.
The finale.
He hit the skull-crushing finale, and then that was that. Not even worth talking about. Women's title was a shock, but now that we know what is happening behind the scenes, it's not a shock. Charlotte beat Sasha.
That hasn't been confirmed, has it?
She's been pulled for a month.
But they haven't announced.
She has told somebody that it's to deal with nagging injuries. She's not suspended or anything.
Oh, okay.
But she's hurt, and... amazingly, it wasn't
nagging before Charlotte dropped her on her head.
Charlotte almost killed her 2 or 3 times. Yeah, the botches in that match were absolutely just horrible.
Yeah.
Like when you get to that level, nobody's perfect. I understand that, but you should not have botches that go to that level where you almost like kill Sasha. Honestly, it was horrible.
Yep.
The match was really good, though, and I thought the way they did the end made sense. You know, she
Yeah.
was pulling back on the bank statement too far, and Charlotte just rolled her up. She didn't have to cheat to win. Dana Brooke didn't come out. Flair didn't come out. Nothing. So I thought it was a pretty good match. I hate the result, but I didn't know going into it. If I would have known going into it that Sasha had nagging injuries, I would have made a different pick.
Right, yeah.
But it is what it is. Enzo and Cass.
You did that last time.
I do it every time.
Uh-oh.
And this is why we're not real wrestlers. Enzo and Cash versus Jericho. I said it again. Whatever.
Cass.
The Italian guys versus Jericho. It was
whatever.
Fine. The best part of the match, I think, was when Kevin Owens did
The Enzo, the little...
the strut thing.
The shuffle, whatever, yeah.
And Jericho is so good as a heel. He should have never, ever, ever been a face. He's just so much better as a heel. Those two guys being best friends and high-fiving and loving each other and all this stuff. And then they did like a backstage interview after where they talked in French and were high-fiving and they were sharing a towel and stuff. It was on like their YouTube channel, the Fan Nation Fallout or whatever it's called. So we both got that wrong. The kids got that one right. Tag title match. Another one that was kind of just
technically we got wrong, but
yeah. But I mean, they kept the titles, so
right. And that's what I meant.
Yeah. I mean, I guess they just want to stretch that feud out for another month until the next pay-per-view. Same way as Reigns and Rusev, I guess. Although all that could be changing right now as we're recording this. So let's get into. There was really only 4 matches on this that mattered, and only 2 of them were really good. There was only really, when I think about it, there was 2 good matches, maybe 3 if you count the Jericho and Owens tag match. Yeah. There's really 3 good matches. I want to talk first about the one that went on first, and the way they laid out this card in retrospect
just doesn't
made
sense.
No sense whatsoever.
Well, in hindsight, it kind of does because of what they did with the U.S. title.
But even then, you could have done Cena AJ as the main event, and everybody goes. If you do Brock and Orton in the middle of the card, and then you put Cena and AJ as the main event, which you could have justified that. Yeah. Everybody goes home happy, and nobody cares how Orton got his face punched in. But we'll talk about that in a minute. Talk to me about Cena and Styles.
It's weird because I could definitely watch those 2 wrestle any day. But I'm ready. At the same time, I'm done. I'm ready to move on. That should end it, I hope. At the same time, granted, I don't really follow Raw and SmackDown a whole lot. I'll watch them here and there, but usually I just read the results and then I watch the pay-per-views. To me, it didn't seem like there's a whole lot of build-up for this match, other than the fact they've basically been building it up for 2 or 3 months now.
Right.
But this last one was like, what do you say? Let's wrestle one more time. Okay. And they tore the house down. It was awesome. Fantastic match. It just seemed weird. I don't know. It was... The build-up wasn't really there, but the match itself was unbelievable. The match was lots of false finishes without being just ridiculous over the top about it. Although AJ kicking out of the Super AA, but Cena, love him or hate him, he wrestled a great match.
Yes,
and that I know it sounds stupid, but that look that he gave him when he kicked out of that, when he was just staring at him, like
when he was in the corner, just like, what do I gotta do?
What do I? Yeah.
And then,
I mean, it's just a look, but he nailed it.
And normally, sometimes I get upset when it's just finisher, kick out, finisher, kick out. This wasn't really that. It was everybody was pulling out new stuff. Cena did that weird flip sunset powerbomb into a pin thing that was awesome from a standing position.
And then AJ did the AA to the knee.
Oh god, that
attitude like, adjustment backbreaker thing.
That broke his neck or something. But yeah, like I bought AJ kicking out of the Super AA because it reminded me of HBK when they would always say, oh, it's just emotions take over, or whatever it's called, instincts take over, and you just kick out, you don't know where you're at.
Yeah.
And then like you were saying, Cena looking over at him like, what the what do I got to do to beat this guy? And then he caught him with the Styles Clash, and he hit the forearm, and he really looked like he really hit him.
Yeah.
I think they're definitely moving on based on how it ended with Cena leaving the armband in the middle of the ring. There's rumors he's taking some time off to go.
He just came back 3 months ago.
Yeah, but he's going to film another reality show or something. I forget what it is, but so he's going to do that. He's always said he wants, and as I said this in our predictions show, he wants to pass the torch, but he wants somebody to take it from him.
Right.
AJ just took it. Next match, also SmackDown. Okay, go ahead.
Just one quick thing. I don't think it would have made sense story-wise unless they plan on doing something different with AJ. I would have it would have been just perfect to have them do some kind of, not like hug it out, but just like a handshake. Like, all right, I see you. You got me. Like, it doesn't make sense because they hate each other. I mean, AJ hates Cena and whatever. But I was almost hoping they would have just done some kind of like reluctant, at least maybe not even a handshake, but just like a nod, like, all right, that was good.
Yeah.
But again, it probably wouldn't have made sense for story. But I was hoping to see it.
But AJ beat him, and he beat him clean like we both predicted. I as much as I wanted it to happen, I really didn't think it was going to, because we talked about our worries where Cena always gets his win back and everything. Win back, great game. Next up, though, SmackDown. The WWE title match was absolutely
that was disappointing.
Horrible. Like,
that should have been good.
I don't know if
that was a chemistry thing, or if all of a sudden maybe Dean isn't that great and he's been getting carried.
I think,
or
because Dean's had his
Dolph,
good matches with his other two Shield guys, which, as much as everybody hates Reigns, he's a hell of a worker. He's a hell of a wrestler.
The match against Brock at WrestleMania was horrible.
It was horrible. And Brock's there to cash a paycheck, as we'll talk about here in a minute. I was so let down by this match.
Yeah, that should have been good.
That's it for Dolph. I can't see him ever really getting another shot. It's just they wanted to do this because Orton, there's all the big names on SmackDown were
they already had their own thing going.
Orton was fighting Brock. AJ's fighting. AJ and Cena are fighting. There's nobody else to challenge Dean for the title, so it's like, well, let's give Dolph one more shot. And the build-up, talk about the build-up. The build-up that match was great. Like, they made you care about the match, and Ziggler really needed it and all this stuff. And then they get to the match, and it was like a fart in the wind. It was just horrible, like. And the end just came out of nowhere. So Dolph is up on the top rope, and he's going to go for a top rope, like, X-Buster. What was X-Pac's old finishing move? The old face buster.
The X-Factor.
X-Factor. He was going to go for that for the top rope, but then Dean just
landed,
jumped down, grabbed him,
3
DDT'd
beats.
him, and 1, 2, 3. I'm like, what the heck? That was it?
Yeah.
Granted, everything that came after AJ and Cena was pretty much... It was going to pale in comparison to what I think is the match of the year. I think it was better than Zayn and Owens last month. But this match just was a complete disappointment. Complete disappointment.
Yeah, I don't know.
But what I will say, I'll say it right now, AJ is winning the title at the next pay-per-view. 100%. I think they look at that match. I think
he'll be champ by the end of the year.
I think Dean has kind of run his course. I don't know that he's not a main event guy. Something's missing, though. I don't know if he's just only gets up for when he's with Seth and Roman or what it is, but or Triple H. The match he had against Triple H way back in February before WrestleMania was awesome, and I believed it. I thought he actually had a chance to take the title, and this match was not that. Universal title match, Seth versus Finn. If you don't know,
you're about to know.
Finn Balor just had to drop the title because Seth separated his shoulder and tore his labrum, and now he's out for 6 months, and he's got to have surgery on his shoulder.
We need to just... It's a cool move. We need to stop.
It's got to stop. They got to ban
almost
it.
Killed Sting.
Thank you. Take it.
Now Seth is... Or not Seth, but now Finn is out for 6 months. That aside, I think it was a good, not great match. I think Finn... it was exactly what I thought it would have been. I was happy to see Finn win. I'm excited to see... Well, I would have been excited to see where he goes from here. Probably a rematch at Clash of Champions, I would have assumed. But we don't get that now. I will say, pending I wouldn't say miraculous, but accelerated recovery, I'll say right now, Finn wins the Rumble.
Ooh.
That's only 5 months. They're saying 6. I would love to see him come back and win the Rumble.
And see, the thing is, this is going to sound weird. A shoulder injury, while it's obviously it's bad, and he has to have surgery.
You can get by.
You can have him come in at 29 or 30. You can hide it. You can't hide blowing out.
I don't know how he throws people out
or
of the
anything
ring.
like that. But you can drop down on the ropes.
He didn't need his arm. I mean,
I do think I'll say right now he's fighting Seth for the title at WrestleMania. Whether it's Rumble or they have a SmackDown guy win the Rumble, and then Finn wins the number 1 contenders match in February or something. Yeah, I'm going to say right now, somehow, I think the title might go back and forth between then, but I think it's going to be Seth versus Finn at WrestleMania for the title.
Probably.
But yes, they've got to ban that move. Like, they banned the curb stomp because it's called the curb stomp, and they didn't want kids trying to do it, and I can understand that. How about you actually think about your wrestlers, though?
Right.
you got rid of the pile driver because people were getting their necks broken and stuff like that. He's now ended one career, almost paralyzed a friggin' legend, one of the best of all time, and their hot new ticket, second pick in the draft, new champ, young. Everybody loves him. He's put him on the shelf for 6 months or so now. You got to ban that move, 100%. I'm glad you took the words right out of my mouth.
Yep.
So then we get to this whole Orton versus Lesnar thing. If you don't know what happened in this match, you've been living under a rock because this was all over Twitter, no matter if you're a wrestling fan, video game fan, entertainment fan, sports, whatever. It was everywhere last night. GIFs, Vines.
GIFs.
Pictures. No, it's GIF. The guy who made it.
Graphics.
I can look it up. But let me read you this. Before we get into this match, I want to read you this. This comes from WrestlingNewsSource.com. According to a report from the Wrestling Observer newsletter, the ending of the match between Brock Lesnar and Randy Orton last night at SummerSlam went pretty much according to plan. Except for the fact that Randy Orton wasn't supposed to get cut open as bad as he did. It was not done intentionally by Brock Lesnar. However, immediately after the match, when Orton and Lesnar got backstage, Chris Jericho was very concerned about Orton and reportedly asked WWE agent Michael Hayes, Doc Hendricks.
Freebird.
Yeah. If this was the plan for the match, and Hayes apparently wouldn't answer Jericho for whatever reason. This led Jericho to believe that Lesnar had done it on purpose. According to one report, Jericho's exact words were, "That's BS." Lesnar overheard Jericho's remarks and allegedly either called him a female cat just a cat. Whatever. You know what I mean. And or told him to shut up. There are conflicting reports as to what exactly Lesnar said, but it resulted in Jericho getting in Lesnar's face and the two got into a heated argument. Lesnar allegedly then shoved Jericho and Jericho came back at him. According to one report, Lesnar then said something to Jericho to the effect of either punch me or kiss me. WWE COO Paul Triple H Levesque separated the two of them, but then they continued arguing and getting in each other's faces again, which led to Chairman and CEO Vince McMahon getting involved to tell Jericho that everything had gone according to plan, and Jericho was the one who was behaving unprofessionally. Triple H then told McMahon that Lesnar had actually touched Jericho first and that Jericho was simply defending himself. When Jericho checked on Randy Orton again, Orton reassured Jericho that the match had gone according to plan and that he shouldn't be upset with Lesnar. More on this story as it develops. The Wrestling Observer newsletter doesn't get stuff wrong. But now I'm like, so you wanted the match to end that way. That was the way you booked this match that you've been building up is the match that's been 15 years in the making and all this other stuff. We're just going to have Brock get pissed and elbow Randy in the face till he knocks him out and they call the match off. Thinking back, it kind of makes sense because why was the ref not jumping in as soon as he saw Orton not defending himself?
Right.
He didn't jump in there to stop it because that's, I guess, what was supposed to happen. Even though Orton was clearly, at least to me, I don't know about you, it looked to me like he was 100% knocked out.
Oh, yeah. I mean, God. He looked dead.
He looked dead. We were both like,
he was
oh my
not
God,
moving with a pool of blood spreading from his head. I mean,
Ugh.
God, it makes me sick. That being said, this is the first I've heard this.
Yeah, I wanted to save it for the show.
I was starting to think today, I wonder if maybe Orton was just like, Brock, I want you to hit me as hard as you can. And maybe not to the point where he wanted to get busted open. I mean, not like that, but maybe...
Not like that, yeah.
I don't know. I started thinking, what if this was all according to plan and the WWE got the exact response they wanted?
That it just blew up, shut down Twitter. Everybody was like, oh my God, Brock went crazy. He doesn't know the difference between MMA and wrestling. This guy's insane. He should be arrested for assault and battery. I mean,
backstage, not politics, but just happenings always interest me because,
oh gosh, yeah.
A, it's just cool to see behind the curtain or to hear about it anyway. And it's weird to think somebody is, relatively speaking, is big, not in size, but whatever, renown. Somebody as big as Jericho, as opposed to Enzo or something.
Right.
Wouldn't know what was going on. Yeah, it just seems like everybody would know. I don't know. It's just weird that he wouldn't know. I would have think everybody knew exactly what was going to happen, and maybe that's not the case. But
yeah, and I almost think Jericho's got a history with Brock, from what I remember, behind the scenes history. I know he had one with Goldberg, big time, from when they were in WCW. He hated Goldberg.
Yeah.
But man, like that even leads. If you knew this is how you were going to end after a 6-hour show, okay, because the pre-show was 2 hours. The show was 4 hours.
Yeah.
People are exhausted. You knew how WrestleMania ended when everybody was just like, oh, my God, can this match please end? By the way, segue, stop the 4-hour pay-per-views.
It's too much.
If you're going to do it for WrestleMania, that's fine. Don't do a 2-hour pre-show and everything like that. It's too much. Especially it's too much for the people in attendance. At least I can go get up and I can turn on the Wii U and I can play Zelda or something while I'm watching the show. People that are there, they can't do it. And by the end of the show, you're never going to get a good reaction unless somehow Daniel Bryan comes back and like wins the title out of nowhere or something like that. Stop with the 4-hour pay-per-views. Why have that as your main event? Because it seems to me like that was a Vince call, not a Triple H call. Not because Triple H and Orton are buddies. I don't know that they're really that good of friends, but especially like you built this matchup so well, and Orton has been so good since he came back on the microphone. He's re-energized and all this other stuff, and even in the match, he was doing pretty well. He was holding his own. He hit 2 RKOs. You never thought for a second he was going to beat him.
You can make the argument that, granted, it's 90% of Brock's arsenal, but other than the like 7 or 8 German suplexes he did, Orton,
he held his own.
He was probably winning that match. I mean, he got more. I think it seems like he got more offense in than Brock.
So
2 RKOs, 1 on the table, the DDT off the rope thing,
which looked super stiff. By the way,
it did.
I read one thing I was reading on Twitter. Somebody was saying it looked to them. One of the bloggers I follow, I can't remember if it was Brandon or who it was saying it looked like Orton might have been pissing Brock off during the match, which might have affected the way it ended, where he just hit him too hard.
He maybe put a little bit more into it.
Not that for those German suplexes, like Randy wasn't jumping at
all.
Oh,
you could
he
tell.
Was just sandbagging.
Lifting.
He was just sandbagging. Like he's like, I'm not going to help you do this. Like you're going to have to actually pick me up and throw me. So I don't know if they really don't like each other, and then Brock just put a little bit of extra mustard on those elbows at the end, or what. But
yeah,
not the best way to end a pay-per-view. Again, on paper it looked great, but there were only 2 great matches. Disappointment overall, I would say. SummerSlam, what would you say?
I give it a 7 out of 10. It was better than WrestleMania.
It was better than WrestleMania. WrestleMania, I mean, I was falling asleep at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Literally, I was falling asleep at the end of Reigns and Triple H because I just couldn't take it anymore. The Cena AJ match is a 10 out of 10.
Oh, yeah.
And I just think if that's how it would have ended, we would have forgot a lot of the other stuff. But
yeah,
I don't know. I guess they didn't want wrestlers wrestling in a mat that was with a big old puddle of blood in the middle of it, big old stain.
Yeah,
is what it is. Yeah, probably 6, 7 out of 10. It was just fine.
Good, not great.
So yeah, that's it. Anything else you want to add, Sean?
Only other thing I've got is that I'm curious to see how these dual monthly pay-per-views play out now.
Yeah,
because even before when we had the brand split, it was still 1 pay-per-view a month, and sometimes it would be Raw, sometimes it would be SmackDown.
Yep.
Not 2 per month. I don't know. I feel like it's going to get watered down. But
well, and you're also asking people to watch 5 hours a week on a normal Monday, Tuesday.
Raw should only be 2 hours.
Yep. It should not be 3. 3 is no. You could do a good 3-hour Raw a couple times a year, like after WrestleMania. Tonight's might be decent, but overall, 2 hours is plenty. Like I remember when Raw was an hour, and it was exciting.
God, yeah.
You know, and then Nitro was 2 hours, so Raw went to 2 hours,
and then Nitro went to 3.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good point. How did that work out for WCW? Spoiler alert: not great. Anything else you want to add, Sir Sean? Sir Sean.
That's all I got.
Awesome. This has been a quick hits edition of the 2-player co-op guys here on YouTube. Still trying to figure out this whole quick hits thing. If you like it, well, actually, comment below. Let us know. Did you watch SummerSlam? What did you think? Do you buy the fact that this was the planned ending to Lesnar Orton? How would you have ended it? What do you think? Was AJ and Cena the best match of the year? Was it better than Zayn and Owens? Let us know your thoughts. comment below, hit that subscribe button over here, hit the like button over here. We really appreciate if you guys could do that. Spread the word about the 2-player co-op. And until next time, Sean.
Thank you for playing.